Okay, I've got something really interesting to talk to you about. I have made my own DAP. Well, not completely. I put a couple things together that are already out there. But I've talked about this device, the M11 Pro, and I've how much I like this product. Right, this is a really great DAP. The sound quality is fantastic on it. And as a side note, I've owned an Estelle and Kern AK300. I got an AK380, which I did buy used. I still have a Estelle and Kern AK Junior, and I've had a Sony Walkman, the NW I think it is, and this sounds better than all of them. This device sounds better than all of them, and it's more expensive than all but one of them, right? Uh, the AK300, I think that brand new is about 1,500. I think I got it on sale someplace for like 900 or something, and I ended up selling that on eBay after I got this. Actually, I ended up selling that on eBay. I think I got like 600 for it or something. The AK380, I had sold a little while before I got this, uh, but I sold it because I got the M11 with not the Pro, but the M11. The M11 sounded better than the AK380. The AK380 I got used for about 1,100, but that thing I find it brand new right now on eBay for 2,500 bucks. So I mean, price obviously doesn't really matter, right? Because I mean, Estelle and Kern is just fooling themselves if they think that their product's better than this. So anyway, this has been my go-to, this M11 Pro. The sound is just excellent on it, and it's hard to beat. So there is a device though that sounds better. Not a massive amount better, but it does sound better. And I mean, in kind of in a shocking and surprising way, how much cleaner and brighter it is. And I was surprised. And that's the Monoprice, or the Monolith by Monoprice. It's a portable headphone amplifier and DAC with the THX technology, right? So I think the name is like Monoprice Portable Headphone Amplifier with THX AAA technology. So it's got the THX, and I remember Z Review did a review on this, and he like went crazy on it and how awesome it was. And I got it, and I always had wanted to try it out. So I found it on their site. It was refurbished from Monoprice for 199 bucks, which is $100 less. What they usually sell for 299. Sometimes they put it on sale for 289, and I have found it even for 279. But I just, I had the file. I was like, why? I really like this. But I saw it for 199. I thought, let me try it. They have a return policy. I can return it if I want to. I got it, and I'm like, holy smokes, this thing sounds better than the file. I was surprised. I mean, it is really sounds good. Problem is that it's a DAC amp, so you got to have something to put the bits into it. So you either need to have a DAP or some kind of player that is going to push USB into it, or it accepts optical, which is really cool because I have an optical out on my computer, where I keep all my music, and I have a FooBar 2000 running on there, and I use that. So I used the optical out into this for my desktop, and I was blown away. I like, oh my god, this thing sounds incredible. And in fact, the one IEM that shined, that really sounded good, better than it's ever sounded, was the Blonde. The Blonde sounded ridiculously good on this thing. And I can't tell you exactly why that is technically. I just don't know. I just know that it sounded great to me. And all my IEMs sounded good. And the nice thing is this thing has a lot of power. It can drive my desktop headphones without any problem at all. Um, I did a video on the Urban Funds, and I talked about how hard they were to drive, and I could barely get to drive them with my FiiO. But with this device, it drove them very easily. This thing puts out a lot of power. Um, but that said, I'm kind of digressing. This is a DAC amp, so you need a source. You need something to put the music into it. So I tested the FiiO, and I did the USB out into here. Sounded excellent, sounded great. I did the line out, and line out, line in. That didn't sound so good. And so what happens is when you do line out, you're pushing an analog signal into this. There's There's no breakdown of that signal or reconstruction of the bits to make the music. It's just taking that signal, amplifying it, and pushing it out. So what I found was that depending on the source putting in, it sounded okay, but it never sounded anywhere near as good as it did through either the optical or through the USB, where its own internal processor was rebuilding those ones and zeros into the music, right? Because when you put out a USB signal, and you guys may all know this, if you're in this hobby, you probably know about this stuff. I'll just kind of reiterate it just in case you don't, but USB is a protocol. And just like a network protocol, like you may have heard the term TCP/IP, which is how you send packets over the internet. And I used to be a network engineer, still am to a certain extent. I consult now, but USB is a way of sending packets of data that conform to a certain protocol, to a certain method of reconstruction. So it's just ones and zeros. So when you send out USB, it's not really dependent on the source. As long as that source can correctly reproduce those ones and zeros and send them out, and it correctly follows the protocol, and the device that receives them correctly follows that protocol, there's not much more you can do. You can't really modify that in any way. So sending USB to this device really doesn't matter as long as the device you're using is following the protocols correctly and reconstructing those ones and zeros and sending them correctly, right? So cool. I don't need to have, the computer. I can use the USB out of this thing. The problem is that's a friggin' brick, man. I mean, this device is not heavy, but it's not light. And with the FiiO M11 on top of it, it's like, what the heck? And I tried using it for a while like this, and I didn't want to use anything to stick them together because I like this by itself, right? And I kept fumbling, and a couple times it like dropped, and this thing was hanging by the wire, and I was like, crap, I'm gonna break my little OTG cable there. So I thought I got to figure something else out, because I really, really like the way this sounds, and I want to be able to take it around. It's like a DAP almost. So coming into the picture, I did a bunch of research, and I found this little thing called the FiiO M6. And they had measurements, and I saw some videos on it, and I was like, it does USB out, because not all the DAPs, I looked around, and not all the small DAPs do USB out. This was, I'm not going to say one of the few, but it was one of the ones I found that did. Didn't have optical out, I didn't care. This is USB out, and it used the same thing as all the files do, the USB-C, and I have a USB-C to a mini USB OTG cable, so I could plug this directly into this, and it works. So voila, I've got a little homemade DAP. Now the thing I was looking for, the other thing with having the FiiO on here, is that I couldn't see this screen. Now if I turn this on, hopefully you'll be able to see that okay. It's starting up, and boom, it's ready to go. So it says USB PCM, because it detected that I've got a USB cable plugged in here. I really like the volume control in this thing. It's very delicate and detailed, and I can control really well. Not that it's just fun. I don't know what use it is, but it's fun and it's nice. It feels very high end, and I wanted to be able to see the screen, so I wanted a DAP that would fit here. But a lot of the DAPs, they got this little screen on them, and so I'm not getting any younger, and I do wear reading glasses, and I can tell you that the smaller the DAP, the harder it is to use, and I got to keep my reading glasses with me and whatever. And plus I want to see the screen on one side, and I wanted the controls to be easy to get to and whatnot. So this FiiO M6, I'll turn this on now, it's Android, so it's the same basic interface and OS as the FiiO M11. Did I turn it on? There we go, yeah. So definitely doesn't start as fast as the M11 or M11 Pro, but that's fine. I don't really care. The battery life on this thing is crazy. It's like 20 hours. The battery life on this thing is like 10 hours. So right there, this thing outlasts this thing by about 3-4 hours, because the battery doesn't go for more than about 6-7 hours if you're lucky on this thing. And then I got to recharge it. Whereas, so I could literally keep this thing all day playing, and it'll play anything I want, anything I can throw at it. Now, with this M6, hopefully you guys can see this okay. It's got the FiiO Music app. It's exactly the same app as what's on the M11. and on your phone if you download it, right? It's the same app, it's Android. So I can go folders, which is how I like to look at my music, SD card, and this thing will take a 2 terabyte SD card, and I can scroll through my music and I can play whatever I want out of here, and it sounds fantastic. I mean, it sounds better than the M11 Pro. This combination has made a DAP that's the same weight as the M11 Pro, but sounds better. And I'm not kidding you. That's my opinion. Again, I've said this before in other videos that, you know, it's based on what I hear, but this sounds better than M11 Pro in almost everything I throw at it. It's clearer and cleaner, and it may have to do with the amount of power this puts out. I don't know, but yeah, really enjoy this. Now the cool thing is that I stuck this on here using this white tack stuff. Let's see if you can kind of see that squished in there. And I've pulled it off a couple of times, and it doesn't leave any residue on the Monolith portable amp. So if I pop this off, this thing stays nice and clean, because the back is kind of this leatherette type vinyl, and then, which is nice because it doesn't get fingerprints. And the front is kind of this anodized rough aluminum. It's smooth, but you know, it doesn't attract fingerprints, which is nice. But this does not leave any trace behind of this white tack on there. And what's cool is that if I want, I can pop out the M6 from this and just have the little DAP. So if I really need to take something small with me, this little DAP plays great. I listened to my headphones on this DAP alone just to see how it worked out. I want to say that it was very close to being as good as the M11 as far as sound goes. Not the M11 Pro, but very close. Definitely as good or better than my AK Junior, right? The sound quality was great. Battery life is phenomenal. So there's the DAP that beats the M11 Pro. And that M11 Pro, in my book, beats pretty much everything I've heard from Estelle and Kern. And I keep saying their name because they're one of the leaders, and they sell these ridiculously expensive DAPs, and I don't know why, because they don't sound better than that M11 Pro, and they definitely don't sound better than this combination. And here's the kicker: $199 I paid for this, $129 I paid for this. So together that's $328. I mean, minus taxes and shipping, $328. $328. This thing is $700. $328. The M11 by itself is like $459, right? $479. It's hard to believe, but this combination is better, and it's so versatile because I can take it apart and have this tiny little DAP to carry around if I want. I can turn this off, unplug this cable, plug my optical in here, and use it as my desktop amp, and it's cleaner than my Ioun by a mile. Even if you buy this at full price at $299, and $129 is full price on this. I didn't get any discounts. $129, $299, that's like $428. Minus taxes and shipping. So let's say together it costs $500. That's still less than you're going to get a new M11 for, and $200 less than you're going to get an M11 Pro for, and about, depending on which Estelle and Kern you get, between $1,000 and $3,000 cheaper. So I mean, this is a very, very hard combination to beat, and it's very versatile, and it weighs is almost the same as this does, and the thickness it's just a tiny bit thicker, as you can see, than that M11 by itself. So excellent combination. If you can pick up one of these Monoprice portable amps, one of these little $129 FiiO M6, this guy right here, you can't go wrong. You're going to be really happy, and you need to get a little OTG cable. And I pushed this over to the side like this instead of centering it on here, because the OTG cable kept wanting to pull it back when I just had it laying on there. And it's just the way I've got it wrapped. And I thought, you know, why fight this and put undue stresses on it where it can start getting cracks and things. So I just let it sit over to the side, and it's actually nice. It's my, you know, my hand rests right here. I can change volume. Well, I don't need the volume control. No volume control. Volume control is here, which is what I like. This strictly is controlling the music that's going out, sending out the bits through the protocol into this device. This device is doing the decoding and delivering the music in analog format to your headphones. So I just wanted to show this to you. I thought this was such a great combo. Maybe there's someone out there who would be interested in this too. Again, I paid for all this stuff with my own money. I don't have any links to sell anything or any of that stuff. This is just my opinions, and I think that this is a fantastic combination. I think it sounds better than the M11 Pro, and better than most of the desktop amps. Anyway, great combination. Can't go wrong.